Hello everyone, Nicole here, back with a Kit Love layout share, but this is going to be kind of a multifaceted video. So first, I'm going to put this collection away. If you don't like to watch that process, you can just fast forward. I scrapbooked the crap out of this collection, and I still have a lot left, but I made a ton of layouts. So it was so much fun to play with. It worked perfect for the pictures I had envisioned working with. And I even got a couple other subjects scrapbooked as well. And then at the end of this, so then part of that is I've been working on Chrissy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. So I got like 2 weeks worth of those done. Or, hold on, 2, 4, 6, 12. Yeah, almost 2 weeks. Yeah, actually exactly 2 weeks because I worked ahead a little bit because the photos match some future sketches better. And then I also had, prior to working with this collection, I had worked with American Crafts Dreamer collection. And I should have done a Kit Love product share video on that but it was one of those things where I just like randomly I want to just make a couple layouts with this collection. And then I ended up making a few, and I'm like, oh, I should have made this a Kit Love, right? Because I just worked within that one collection for a few layouts. So I'll show you those layouts as well. And some of them you may have already seen in my last Chrissy's Beautiful Life layout share, but there are some new ones in there. So really quickly, I want to get this put away. As I figured, I did not use the charms at all because they're too bulky. I'm going to put these with my charms that I use to decorate my scrapbook albums with. So that is actually going to go into a different area. I use a ton of the washi stickers, and I know it's hard to know. I had the full papery pack. I had the die cut packs. I use a ton of the washi stickers. I don't know that I even touched any of the washi tape. You guys, lesson learned. And granted, I didn't buy this. This came in the mystery box, but I don't know why I'm so bad at using washi. I don't know. Anyway, so I have a lot of that left that will go back. I better find a bag for this. I don't know where it's at. And so, one quick note. I went to Amazon to get some more of these longer bags to put scraps and stuff in, and I just found one that was like a little bit bigger, like wider, but the quality it's not good. It's not like it's sturdy like the other ones are. So I'll probably go back to the 6x12, even though some sticker sheets don't work in them. I'll use these, but they're like really flimsy. Anyway, I just thought I would try to see if I could get a wider size, and it ended up being a whole different quality. So washis I'll put away last here. So, here is I have kind of loose pieces everywhere. This is just, basically I had things spread out on my desk, on my floor, next to me in my containers, and I just piled it all up. I'm like, I need to get this put away. So I thought I would just do it on camera. So I'm just going to put all the loose pieces into these little baggies. And I didn't use a ton of these. I used a couple of these larger pieces, but I used a lot of the ephemera pieces and the washi stickers. I was surprised at how many of the washi stickers I used. Because normally I struggle with like vellum stickers or acetate stickers, like they're really flat, like rub-ons. But I really had a good time working with those. I'll put these in here. Separate one. Oops. So, okay, so I'm sorry. So then stickers, I used a lot. Let me go back just a little bit here. Off my desk though. A lot of the stickers, like I did pretty decent smashing of that sticker sheet there. And some more loose pieces. And I didn't have multiples of the, I don't think I did, of the ephemera packs. It's just those papery packs are so loaded with things. They have, I'm going to do another one here. I don't know if I need a separate one for this. I'm going to put this with my stickers, I think, and then use this. Because I have a lot of loose butterflies. I fussy cut butterflies from one of the pattern papers. Did I fussy cut? I don't think I opened all 3 floral packages, and you guys, 3 packages. That's one ephemera package I did have multiples of, and I wasn't gonna open up the 3rd package, but I used them like crazy. So this actually is from this collection, and so and I used a ton of them. So I maybe have I would say maybe 1 package worth left. I could be wrong on that, but I used a lot. Okay, so here's these I struggled with. I think just because they're so big. The stickers are so big. I don't know. I don't know. I think I just almost prefer to pop things up like cardstock stickers, like pop them up with foam adhesive over these, or maybe, I don't know. But I used a few of them, but I really struggled with these a little bit. And these did have some really big titles and things oversized, but. And so when you have an say, for instance, whatever was here, when you have a title that or a phrase that's that big, or any kind of embellishment, you kind of have to work your page around that. It can't be an afterthought, because that's when it tends to look kind of out of place. And I think I have one layout where I kind of feel like I used 2 of them, thinking that they would balance each other out, and I didn't. That's my least favorite layout, but it's fine. It just wasn't. They were it was an afterthought, then I tried to balance it out with another big one, and then it was too much, and then they're stuck down good, and just the way it goes sometimes. You know what? These are going to go into my stash, just because they're so neutral, I don't think that they have to belong with this collection, so they're a nice kind of type of alpha I don't have a lot of in my regular stash with those kind of block letters, so that'll be good. Okay, so then scraps. I have a lot. But, so I had the paper pad, had 2 of each paper, and then I had 2 or 3, I think just 2 double-sided pattern papers that came in one of my boxes. And I might just do a separate one for these. Actually, I don't mind using these up because I want to get them gone so I can get the other ones. Anyway, so I used, I'll show you what I have left of the paper pad because I really used a lot of it. Some more scraps in here. So I did a lot of punching because a lot of these sketches for Chrissy's Beautiful Life involved shapes and things like that. And so I did a lot of, used a lot of punches. And then these really weird shaped scraps that I got out my butterfly punch and just butterfly punched a whole bunch. So I didn't have to just throw away a bunch of really nice sections of paper. So those will be, I'll keep those in the embellishment stash. Like this, for instance, some people would just cut this off and throw this away, but you could cut a couple punch a couple butterflies or a flower from that, or a star, whatever. For me, there were butterflies and flowers were a common theme in this, so I scrapped one of my butterfly punches and made just some extra embellishments. And so I just don't like throwing away little bits of paper that are super usable, because it doesn't take much to punch out, a little butterfly. And that's what our punchers are for. So I figure, why, punch a brand new sheet of paper when you can punch just a little corner that you're going to throw away anyway, is kind of my thought. And I know, I don't have to, save the paper. Here, I did this before I had broken into any of this paper. But so what I would do is I would cut this off, and then I would just punch more butterflies out of what's left, or circles, or whatever. So I can still get use out of that random, you know, scrap. So loved this paper. This is all I have left of this particular floral. The florals I used up a lot. There's my bling. I was wondering where these were. I added in one more little package of this little mini bling, and I used it quite a bit. So I love that. That was just from my stash. And okay, so here is, so there were 2 of each, and then I had two additional papers besides that. And there's some, I don't even have one left in here. That's all I have left of the paper pad. And then, you know, quite a few scraps, but really, like I did some pretty good damage. I love this collection. This is a really fun collection to play with. Okay. Need to get to Hobby Lobby and get some more of my bags. Okay. Got kind of a mess here, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so then the sticker book. It's kind of shredded into pieces here, but it's just easier for me to take it apart and then, like, you know, cut pieces. These are mostly all vellum stickers. I think they are all, well, I think they're all vellum stickers. Or not, yeah. You know, like the clear stickers. I guess not vellum necessarily. Yeah, they're vellum. I don't know. They're the really flat, like, clearish stickers. Except for these. These are cardstock. And these are clear. These are cardstock. And I used up a lot of those. So I used up a lot. Some of them I didn't. Because I had multiple images and different, like, I did use up the entire pack of little puffy stickers, and those had a lot of these images, and I was more comfortable using them in smaller bits than these kind of larger stickers. So I did use up all of that. There might be one random one that I stuck on here somewhere. I think I actually used them all. And then you had, you know, images on here that match, you know, so I just had to kind of pick and choose based on what kind of dimension I wanted on which image I used. And so, but I got a lot of those used up. So yeah, so here's what's left of the chipboard stickers. So this collection, there were chipboard stickers and foam stickers, which is, I think that's not normal, is it? Maybe it is. Yeah, it probably is, because I think you think, like, Vicky Booten would have, like, a foam sticker, like, 12 by 12 sheet, and then have... So, anyway, I kind of felt like the foam stickers were going to replace the chipboard stickers, but at least the larger size packages like these. Anyway, I'll stop babbling. So, I just remember thinking, oh, I have both kinds here. Maybe I just don't always get them. Anyway, so I use a lot of these. Again, these titles are so big. You really have to kind of work your layout around a sticker that big. And I did use some, but still have a few of those left. For some reason, these were really hard to, like, they wouldn't come off the page really well. And so I'd have to, like, take it off and then peel off the backing because it wouldn't come off kind of naturally, which was fine. That wasn't a big deal. It actually was kind of nice sometimes because then it's like, then you don't have the sticky to deal with and you can play around with it before it gets stuck down. Washi strips, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but almost 7 of them. So those were fun. So I didn't have any trouble using those, but the actual washi tape, I don't know why I struggle so much. And then here's some more scraps. It's not gonna fit. And so one of the layouts I did had a whole bunch of strips, and so let me get those kind of. These were the leftovers. Great way to use up scraps. And the branding strips, which all but 2 of my papers didn't really have decorative branding strips because they were from a paper pad. So here's a bunch of those butterflies I punched out just from the little bits of paper, like corners and things. See, the butterflies I'll put, just want to get the paper strips kind of separated out, and then everything else will just go into a baggie. So yeah, this is all I have left of the florals. I see there's a couple random embellishments in here that I'd pulled. The florals, from the floral packs, but also the florals from the, like the washi tape florals from the ephemera or the papery pack. These are butterflies. I just didn't completely fussy cut them out until I needed them. Butterflies that I punched. So you guys, I had 3 packs of florals, and this is like, if you look, like these are from the papery pack. So if you look at just actually like these types of flowers, I maybe have less than a package left in here because most of these are from the papery pack, because these are all from the papery pack. Isn't that crazy? I use a lot of florals. So much fun. Okay. Because I love me a good floral. And I think I fussy cut some out too from one of the pattern papers. So definitely. Granted, I still have a ton here, but I am okay with how much I got used. So let me do one more little one, I think. So if you are a saver like me, or just someone who likes to use up every little bit, look at your collection that you're working with and look at any themes that are in it. And sometimes this is a good idea just naturally to do anyway. Say there's a lot of butterflies in this collection. Go pull a butterfly punch. Include it with your kit. Make yourself use it. And then you can, add to maybe the embellishments that are already in the collection. But it's also a great way to then use up those little bits and scraps of paper and add more embellishment to your options. So that's always kind of fun. So, different, like every collection has different themes. Some of them have a lot of florals. Some of them have maybe a lot of stars, kind of maybe use that to base, and grab one of your tools, your die, or if you have a die cutting machine, kind of have it ready at the ready. And then if you have a random scrap of paper that you don't want to throw away, but you could use, just, really quickly make a shape out of it. And then add it to your ephemera collection for that kit. Okay, the washies. I contemplated just putting these with my regular washies, but they are pretty full. So I'm going to go ahead, since these match the colors, and I have quite a few supplies left here that I can scrapbook more with. I'm going to go ahead and leave them in here, but I'm going to lay them out flat because there's so many of them, so that they don't bulk up the bag too much. Okay. This looks way better than when I started. All right, now for layout share. Okay, how do I do this here? Let's do. Okay, let's see. So starting off with, this is day 13 by Lisa Carlson. Here is the sketch. Had this kind of wonky square kind of made into a diamond shape in the middle, pattern paper in the left. Now, you guys know me by now. It's a starting point for me, and I usually start with it and then do my own thing. But this one, I actually did a pretty good job of, hopefully my camera, I'll keep an eye on my camera, make sure. I want to keep this here so you can kind of see it to compare if you need to. Hopefully that's not too distracting. I should have cut them out individually. I'll move it. Okay, you guys got the idea. Okay. So here is mine. I'm going to go ahead and go a little closer here. Okay. So I pretty much followed the sketch. I did an outline of the layout. I did pattern paper here. I love this pattern paper. I used up every bit of it. I don't think I had any scraps of this pattern paper left. It just felt like fairy tale-ish to me, but it was a nice neutral one because there weren't a ton of neutral pattern papers in this collection. That was the main one, if I remember correctly. Otherwise, I had to pull in white. I did pull in kind of a cream colored paper at one point, but I did my square paper there and the kind of in the diamond shape style. I use this beautiful floral. So my daughter was wearing like this in some of her. She had two different rolls. In one roll, she wore this beautiful pink, like just gorgeous dress with like flowers embroidered on it and ruffles and gorgeous. And then she had a like a purplish, more Rapunzel color type of dress. I think Rapunzel wore purple, right? Yeah. Anyway, her other dress is purple. So this collection had both colors, which was great. So this was her, the wicked stepmother that kept her up in the tower, and who turns beautiful at the end. And I don't know if you guys have seen Into the Woods. It's such a great musical. Anyway, they do have it, like they made it like a musical movie, and it's so good. Anyway, so she happens to be her best friend also, which is so great because they get to spend a ton of time together in theater and music things. But her dress was this burgundy color. And so thankfully this floral, and there wasn't a lot of burgundy in this collection, but this particular floral had this beautiful burgundy color in there. So I really wanted to make sure that was able to be shown to help bring in that burgundy and pink color tone together. So then I used a light pink, really kind of soft, not much of a pattern. It's a very soft like stripe with little squiggles as like the main base of the paper. And then this really fun, I call it like the foresty looks paper with the green with all the different colors of florals, because she did have this really colorful little thing on her head. And so I wanted to make sure I got some of these reds and oranges. So if you look on the edges, you see all these different colors, the reds, oranges, the pinks. And then I brought those colors back into the front with these butterflies. So these butterflies are fussy cut from the pattern paper. And then I used some washi tape. I use a lot of these really fun banners that just make you think like Disney or, princess, or theater, like the banner, kind of thing. And yeah, and then I used a bunch of, bling from my stash. You can see these little puffy stickers, I use some of the mini butterflies around the larger butterflies, just to add a little bit more whimsy. So there's that one. Okay. Now where to put them? Okay. Alrighty. The next one is a 2-pager. So the sketch looks like it was 2 8.5 by 11s, but I did 2 12 by 12s. And so the biggest thing was like these film strips. And then there was, I did not do the circles. So what I did do is I actually tried to do mixed media. So in place of these circles, I tried to use the watercolor. I did, and I still have the papers, so I can still use them. I'll show you them actually. Because I really liked how they turned out, but the way that my photos laid on them, it didn't look great. So here's what I did. So this is going to be this page, and then this is going to be, so this circle here was going to be this. So this is actually a wood grain stencil that I used, and you can't really tell here. You can kind of tell here. The colors ended up beautiful. I can still use this, but the problem was when I laid my photos out, it looked like I just had these like spurts coming up out of it. And so I decided, you know what? I don't have patience for this. I'll use these for something else, and I'm just going to use pattern paper. So I think, sometimes you just know, like, if you're not in the mood for mixed media, you just don't force it. I finally just decided to give in, not worry about the circle elements. I did use the block of pattern paper here, I did here, and then the strip down here, I did down here, but then I added some more and changed up my photo layout a little bit, and just kind of did my own thing from there. So really just where the pattern papers are located is the start, and then like the film strips on the side on this side, although I mimicked it on this side as well, even though they kind of changed it. So this is one where I definitely started and didn't completely follow the sketch after the initial start. But I think it's a really fun layout. This is a one where I had very few photos where you could see really the colors of the set and the staging and the costumes, and you can see there's purples and reds and blues, and because the group pictures they took like in a controlled setting didn't really have that color. I mean, the costumes did, but you didn't have like the lights and things. I had just taken a couple at the very end when they were bowing and everyone was clapping, so I felt like I could take pictures during that and not not during the production, but I have a couple individual ones on my daughter here, and then their little display outside the theater that has a cast, all their characters, but they always have it really nice and themed. So you have like the Into the Woods theme there. So I had taken a picture of that. Oh, there's a lot going on with this layout. It's very busy, but I think if you look at it as a whole and the colors and the embellishments, makes you feel like it's Into the Woods, like, and in the colors of. And that's my goal, right? I want it to feel like a fairy tale type of layout. And so the film strips were great because I had these from Bo Bunny. The tickets I had also, I think, from Bo Bunny, and those are great for a theater page, theme-wise anyway. I use a lot of the banners. There's a banner here. There's a banner in this title here. And then I use another little one over here. I use some of the foam stars. This from the papery pack called Shine. I just use a lot of stuff here. I sprinkled in some of these more neutral flowers just to give a little rest to all the color that was going on. But I just had fun layering. This is from the washi book. I have florals. I just have everything. I have this card here that I did just the name, the date, and what it was, and then a couple washi stickers there. I used this music themed card here just to get some. I actually cut it in half and use it on each side. I wanted to get some music themed stuff on here because it was a musical, and I love the Ever After and fairy tale, and this little fairy just was perfect for this particular layout. So that was fun. I did outline it in black. I always struggle if I seem to struggle if I have just one sheet of paper in the background. I feel like it's more natural to me to have the actual background of the layout layered, to be matted. And if I don't, I will often just do this black line. I've done this for years. I think who did I see do it? I know Merity Twilling does it too, but I saw someone do it like a long, long time ago. And I was like, oh, that just feels more done to me. It just feels like, I don't know. So I've done that for many, many years. And so if I didn't want to add any more pattern to this by backing it. So I just did that on the white. So, all right, I don't know if you guys want to see close-ups or not. I don't want this to get too long, but flowers and stars and music and film strips and stars, all kinds of stuff going on here. Oh, and I did print out a little, I just kind of focused on my daughter's picture in the cast display and put it behind this film strip there. That was just kind of a fun little detail. I can't see it the greatest, but it's good. Okay. All right. And then day 15, and that sketch was from Ginger Bush. And then day 15 is Vicky Taguinod. I don't know. This one I was like, and I've learned my lesson from this. I'll look at a sketch and say, oh man, I don't know if I like that, like that design. That's not my style. Not that I don't like it, just that it's not my style. Like I don't know if I could work well with that kind of background. You guys, when you think that, just do it anyway, because every time I either cut a shape, because I'm not a big shape cutter, as far as like pattern paper and that kind of thing, or there's a background that you're like, oh man, I don't know if I could do that. Like, try it, because they've are almost always some of my favorite layouts. For instance, the one with the big heart in the background, I'll be showing you here shortly, turned out to be one of my favorites. And I was like dreading doing that because I was like, I don't have a big heart. I'm going to have to freehand it. I'm going to get frustrated. And I ended up loving it. Anyway, so this is one that I was like, I just struggle with circles and shapes. I just do. I like my rectangles and squares and strips. And so whenever there's a shape, a circle, or something wonky like this, and that's why I do this, because it's making me try something different and say, ooh, I actually do like how that looks. And it's making me use my punches, and I'm using my tools, and then I end up loving it. So this is what I made from this one, and I followed it pretty darn closely. And so here's the sketches. It really just was 2 photos and some embellishment around. And so here, again, took the colors of the photos, which have this burgundy and gold, and then this light pink. And so there's this beautiful, just yellowy gold paper in this collection. And then I used up some more of that floral paper to make sure I got some of that burgundy in there, just because I think that pulled all those colors together well. I used some of the papery pieces and stickers to embellish above and below. This was actually, I think I'd pull this into the kit from 49 and Market. I wanted to get some of this blue in here because I have this blue butterfly up here, and I just wanted to get some blue down here. And then I had used this blue banner here. Even though it's a washi sticker, you can't see it really well, but you can definitely see that it's blue. A little washi sticker to the side here. Popped up some butterflies. Did a couple more layers underneath here. Labeled it Dreamy with a washi sticker. And love how this turned out. So I love it. Like it's, but I never would have done this on my own. So that's why I love to do the challenges, and this is a fun event to do. So, okay. Okay, the next one, I struggled with this one. I thought this would be so easy. Because, with theater productions, you end up having lots of photos. I'm like, oh, I can for sure find 4 2x2 photos. And so then, so my first try, I decided, you know what, I had these 3 photos, and I'm just going to do photo here, and then instead of these, just do 1 photo here. But I'm going to use the pattern paper here, which I did. I used my larger pattern paper here, smaller piece up there. I didn't mat it on another piece of paper. And this is a layout that kind of got away from me. It was fine. It's still cute. But it was one where I really wanted to use this, My Lucky Star, because this was us with family there ready to watch her and then giving her a hug afterwards, and, all that fun stuff after the production. And it was so ginormous. And so then I felt like everything was weighted up here. And so then I found this one to weigh it down here. And then I felt like, oh my gosh, that's 2 really big stickers. And so then I just went with kind of a diagonal. I should have probably maybe put 1 more floral or something here to fill like this little section in. And then so it just really felt like more of a diagonal there. Did a couple embellishment things in the middle. But here's where I use a lot of those cute little animals and things that felt woodsy, that really matched the theme of the production. And so, I mean, it's still cute. It's fine. It just, she came out in a red sweatshirt. And so I wanted to make sure I had these red florals and this paper showing. But so, I mean, there's lots of cute detail to this. It just isn't my favorite one. It just ended up being a little bit too much. And mostly just because I think the stickers were too big for me. It's just my personal preference. But you can see all the little fairies and the owl and the little... So yeah, I used all the puffy stickers. Like, they were very usable. And just the phrases, "you shine brighter," "you're pure magic," was just perfect, again, for these photos. So there's that. Okay. Then I'm like, okay, I failed at that sketch. I'm going to try it again. And this is better, but I still had to move some things around because it just wasn't quite working. So again, it has the 2 photos and the 4 2x2s. So I printed them accordingly, 2 horizontals, 4 2x2s. I just wasn't liking it the way I was laying it out with the pattern paper. So I scrapped the way the pattern paper was on here and just did this concoction of photos, just moved them around and did my pattern paper differently. And so, here gosh, this was a while ago. I matted this yellow graph style paper onto a floral, and anytime I did that, I gutted it because I wanted to save as much of the floral papers as I could. And let's see. I just did strips of pattern paper, like one large one of the star paper, and then a couple of strips of some of the I cut strips of like the cut apart papers, so you could see like lots of different colors, but you don't see that they were cards. And then I used some of the stickers. I did a little embellishment cluster here. Used a washi sticker there that says love. Labeled it dreamy with this acetate. So then I want to make sure I got some acetate. I used acetate butterfly and then an acetate partial frame there just to make sure I have acetate in a few different places. I did stamp on here from my Mind's Eye stamp sites put up. It said look up because it's all about her being Rapunzel, letting down her hair, her mother, and then her prince, calling up to her. And so that was appropriate. And actually did use some of the alphas, just labeled it Rapunzel. And there's lots of details, lots of florals tucked in, and the little washi banners. And some stars and some bling. And again, these flowers were lovely. And then they had a card embellishment that said, "Don't forget to look up." That was kind of perfect. So there's that. Okay. And also the tones of this, I was going to mention too, the tones of these pictures were very dark and they were purple and blue with a little bit of red. And so I really made sure I tried to play up that darker purple and got some of those blue tones in. I didn't do it completely. Like I didn't want it to be so dark, but I feel like that helps balance out the photos a little bit because this collection is very bright and colorful. But kind of bringing in all those blue and purple tones in the washi paper here, the florals and the butterflies, and then also bringing in some black as well helped. So. Okay, next up is, and that was from Miss Carrie. So I still want to try the actual sketch sometime. It inspired a couple layouts. It was fine, but I really do like this design. So anyway, this next one is Day 17 from Ruth Lewenden. And I love this because I love tags. I love that these were oversized tags, especially because this collection, the paper pack, actually came with 4 oversized long tags. So I'm like, why reinvent the wheel? Just use the tags. And they were perfect because they had music notes on them. And so what I did here was, I have these photos from farther away on some of the other layouts. I did one as a close-up. I just zoomed it in to see her because she's in this tree. She played Cinderella's dead mother also, aside from being Rapunzel. And so that was where she did a lot of her, well, she sang actually in both roles, but in this tree she was singing. And so I wanted to get a close-up of her inside the tree. And I still need to journal on here. Anyway, well, who am I kidding? I need a journal on all of them. I dated and labeled some of them, but I think I need a journal on all of them. Anyway, so this was just a perfect time to use those tags and use just one photo. There was a nice close-up of her. The way the lighting was, has a very yellowish hue to her, so I did choose a yellow background paper, but then toned it down again with this really pretty frame paper. I like this because the frames are oval, and the spot, her opening in the tree, was also oval, and so I decided that really matched well. So then, to just add some more embellishment, like this, the sketch just had kind of the title on the side and some embellishment here, and I didn't do that. I don't really have a title. Oh yeah, I have "You Are Pure Magic" down here. That's the title. I'm not great at titles either, you guys. Titles and journaling. Anyway. So I'll probably journal here. And then, but I went ahead and just kind of embellished around here. Used a lot of the florals and the acetate pieces to get in some of this brown because of the brown tree. There was a very few pieces that were like really brown in this collection. And so I wanted to make sure that I used those on the pages where she was in the tree, just because that had brown in the pictures. I did do a little strip of this really fun foresty green paper, and then that matched this tag, and then just exploded some florals and acetate leaves, and there's some little critters hiding in there as well. So, and vellum butterflies, and then I just put bling in the tags instead of, I usually do string or, that kind of thing, but I just wanted to put bling in there and keep it simple. So, yeah, so this little owl is so cute. There's Birdie. So there's all kinds of little critters. Because, there's like critters and trees, right? So, squirrels and birds and things. So, I thought that worked. Okay. And then Stay 18 from Kristen Foster has this sketch here with these three strips of pattern paper, 2 photos, and then this fun string of circles. So I pulled out my punches and had a good old time. So here's what I came up with. So I have this fun photo of that she had sent me, some like backstage photos of them just messing around, and just of her, the mother in the production, pulling Rapunzel's hair. And I thought that was super cute. And here she's in the purple dress with a black belt. And so, because she had the black hair and Keaton had the black belt, I went ahead and just backed some white cardstock with some black paper to get some black in here. I love this star paper. I think that's perfect for a theater production, a show. And then I used from the papery pack, this is the title called Shine On. And then I layered a bunch of the papery pieces underneath here. I wanted to get some of that purple, so I used 2 of the purple like notebook papers from the papery pack and just kind of like cornered it around the photo, but I wanted to get that purple in there for sure. And then I will journal on this pink ticket here, and then I just punched. I used some scallop circles, some regular circles, and I punched just a bunch of the random, really mostly from all scraps, and just layered them up to the top. And then I just tucked in some of the really fun flower stickers as well as a fairy amongst the circles, and then did some bling work as well. So not a ton of embellishment, but just wanted to tuck in some flowers and things within those circles just to add some more interest to that cascading cluster there. And I did use some yellow pattern paper back here and a little strip of floral paper just to get some more color. And this floral paper matches this like file folder looking paper back there. So here we go. Okay. Alrighty, on to the next page. This one, Day 19 from Holly Fiercely. I love this. And here is my layout. So there's a sketch again. So just, did some fun torn paper and on the corners. And then I didn't like hang them from anything, but I did interweave some gold, and I just happen to have this little random piece of gold thread, or it's not thread, it's like, I don't know, like a twine-ish kind of texture. I just had it like in my little extra embellishment bin that's on my desk. So I'm like, I'll just use that and just kind of weave it in among the upper part of the photos, which worked out perfect because then the title is cream colored with gold foil words. And then I added in some other gold foil pieces like the stars and the florals that had gold foil on them. So it really kind of meshed it all together so that one random gold thread doesn't just stick out by itself as kind of not belonging there. Because here it had a purpose, right? It weaved and like it was hanging, the photos were hanging from it. And mine doesn't really do that. Mine is just more interweaved amongst the embellishments. And so here I just did a bunch of layers behind the photos. Again, these photos are kind of dark. She's got the light pink dress on. We have the burgundy, and then we have those blues and purples. So I love this pattern paper because it had the burgundies and it had the blues and purples and the florals. But it's not too dark, but it brings in some of those tones of color. And so, but because these papers also had oranges and yellows, it opened me up to being able to use like the orange butterfly and some different colors of some of the papers. Like this has a yellow and cream. And then I cut one of the washi frames in half, like the oval frames, and got some of that more black and white style type of embellishment in there that matched like the leaves in this, that look. So again, layered some flowers, lots of papers. These are vellum stickers. And then I did some stamping just with a little stamp that was in one of those sets. Sorry, I know that there's glare. I need to pick up the layout earlier so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So here's this fun cluster here with florals and a butterfly and some stars. And I just stamped it was just a very little like sprig, and I thought it would be cute to get some like black on here because the butterflies are all like outlined in black, but then like these florals were more brown. And just layered lots of fun papers. Just want to get all the fun colors in there and give that middle part some interest behind the photos. Okay. Okay, next one up was the one is like second to last one that I did because I'm like, I don't want to draw a heart because I just don't, I'm sure I probably have a stencil somewhere. I could go to the printer and print one off, and that's too much work for me. So I did just freehand it, and it turned out fine. Like, anyway. So here is mine. So so the way she did it, Lisa Flanagan, was the heart, and then the picture was also in a heart. I did not do that. And then the embellishments were on the four corners. And I changed that up a little bit too. Because that just felt too unnatural to me. I needed I just needed it to be spaced differently. So instead of the heart, I just did the photo. And then I really wanted to use this big vellum piece or acetate piece called Our Happy Place. And that was perfect because they're in their dressing room. They're together. They're having fun. They're taking pictures. They're in their costumes. Like, that's definitely their happy place. And I backed it with this really beautiful floral, which I had to be really careful of because I had punched out of it and needed to make sure when I cut down my white paper that I didn't like cut it too short. So it's a very thin, but it's okay. I just wanted to get some of those other like tones of pinks showing through on the outside. And I love that there's also the green because there's a lot of green in the leaves here. I did have one random strip from the second piece of paper of this that I had, and I put that along the bottom because what happened was when I started embellishing, I felt like the bottom was really empty and the embellishment was going to the top, and I like to have it to be more even. So I have my kind of gutter or whatever you want to call it, basically the space from this piece of pattern paper to the edge of the white is similar to the highest embellishment I have up here, right? So that's kind of, if you have a whole bunch of white down here and you have embellishments all the way to the top, sometimes that's what helps make it feel uneven, at least to me. Again, this is just the way my brain works. I'm just explaining how my brain works. So when I started embellishing, I'm like, okay, everything's going upwards and I have all this space down here. So I was going to do a cluster down here and it just felt empty. So I just put this strip of paper there, and that helped really bring in some of that weight to the bottom, but also even out all the fun, like colors, not designs, but colors and patterns. Patterns the word as what I'm looking for. To the bottom, you know, like it's a little bit more spread out nicely. And so here, normally I just do groups of 3, you know, for the triangle thing, but I wanted to get a cluster down here, and I felt like that it doesn't feel uneven to me. I'm not for sure why, because it's like 4 clusters, but hey, I think it works. Lots of florals on here, and I popped added some up. I used up, I think I only had maybe one more acetate piece left, and I only didn't use it because it was hiding from me, but I used these acetate pieces here, and then I used some of the clear stickers that are in that same kind of brownish tone, just to kind of even out the pops of brown that are there, because her outfit it's not brown, but it's like black and gold and brown and green and purple, and kind of had more of the darker neutral tones to it. So then I'm like, you know what? I want to find like something ruffly. I want something ruffly to put behind the heart. And so it's not super ruffly, but it's like this really pretty light pink vintage lace, like lacy trim that I had in my stash. And so I just put that underneath like this part of the heart, underneath the florals and things. So that was kind of a fun, I need to do that more often because I have all those that I need to get used up, but just because her dress was so ruffly and pretty, and I'm like, I'm gonna get like a softer texture on here, and that worked out really nicely. So, and I just, you know, lots of bling and flowers, some tucked in, some on top of the heart. So there's that. Sorry guys, I'm really rambly tonight. Maybe. Okay, next one is this one. Again, this is not something I would think to do. I wouldn't think to cut, you know, 4 triangles from pattern. Like that's not, my brain doesn't work that way. And so, and I love how it turned out. It was so much fun. And it also really worked within the theme of the story, right? Because it's like pointing upwards. And so I found these photos. It called for 2, well, she had, I think, 2 4x4 squares. I used 2 4x6s because there was plenty of space to work with. But in the theme of the photos is that she is looking up to her, you know, dead mother, Cinderella's dead mother. That's just Cinderella. And so I just think that worked perfectly because in the triangles are pointing upwards and the picture is her looking up at my daughter. So that was just kind of a fun deal. And then use this lovely paper as a background, which makes it a little bit busy because it is a pretty busy pattern, but because it's neutral colors, it's not horrible. But it works for me. Normally, like this would be way too busy for me, but I think I like how this turned out a lot. Use some beautiful pattern papers in this collection to make the triangles. I'm pretty sure I just freehanded that too and then just traced them. And then just layered lots. Like I said, I used a ton of flowers. It just felt natural. And the butterflies, I used the entire sheet of acetate. There was acetate butterflies and that were like 3D. There were florals and butterflies. I totally forgot about them. I used up those butterflies here. And I used up that entire pack of all the florals and butterflies. I loved these fairies. I thought they just worked perfectly. And again, some more of the puffy stickers. And Making Wishes was a perfect title. Fairy tale down here. Did some embellishing down here with some stickers and things. Magic, Take a Stroll, Love, because she'd taken a stroll to go see her. Talk to her mom in the tree. Okay, so anyway, there's that one. I love how that one turned out. Okay, this one is from Stacy Donner Tawari, day 22. And this is taking a break from the theater production a little bit. I'd actually finished all those pictures. I did this one last. I just basically saw what photos I had and then found the sketch that fit those photos. So I didn't do every day in order. I did them by how my photos worked with them. So I'd finished all the theater photos and I still had this one sketch to do, which was this one. And I really wanted to do it because I love tags. I loved the concept of just putting photos on a tag and like how they were spread out and just the simplicity of it. She didn't have a lot of embellishment, a fun title along the top. I changed it a little bit. I typically have to embellish it a little bit more. However, I loved how this turned out. So basically what I did was I looked at what papers I had left and I went to Google Photos and I typed in green because I had a lot of green paper left in this collection. I'm like, what photos do I have that have green in them? And up popped some of my daughter's senior pictures. I was like, of course, because she took pictures out in a woodsy lake area. That's perfect. And so she was wearing white. She had these great pictures with the sun shining in the background. And I happen to have a full piece of this paper here that has this sun ray in the background. And I already had photos I already had 2.5 by 3.5 photos printed because I had printed them for her graduation party. So I just pulled those babies out and they were ready to go. So then I just put them on 3x4 tags and that I cut from pattern paper. And I think they match the collection beautifully. These photos work, perfectly. They're lovely outdoor photos. And so I was able to use up a bunch more of the fussy cut butterflies, some more of the florals. I did put some other tags behind here. So I definitely embellished it more. Added in some of the word stickers. I did put in some of this multicolored pattern paper, just a little strip on the top and bottom. I felt like I needed something. I didn't want to mat it completely on another piece of paper, but I felt like I needed something on the edges. And so that really helped bring in all those fun colors that have shown up in the middle with the butterfly tag and the different embellishments and things. So, I felt like there was something underneath, that was bulky. I was like, what's on the back of this thing? So there's that one. So there's a close up of Bright, Brave, Beautiful was perfect. Blue Skies and Sunshine. That I hadn't been able to use, with the theater pictures because, obviously we were inside the theater. And so that was a perfect time to use that phrase because she was outside. And there's that cluster there. I need to probably trim that off before I put this in a page. So there we go. Okay. All right, next up is, sorry, this is a long one, guys. Day 23 from Sarah Scraps. I love, love, love this sketch because I love a grid and it's like a kind of a mini grid. So this is what I came up with. So she had pattern paper on top and bottom and then just some embellishment along the opposite corners. And I kind of did that. I added an extra strip of pattern paper, and some embellishment just tucked into those papers, not a lot, just some words, like some phrases. And I did opposite sides as far as the corners, but I really stuck kind of to diagonal deal with some florals, butterflies, bling, and then one washi tape title sticker in the middle. I did some stamping with some swirlies from that My Mind's Eye, one of those stamp sets. I should have used them more. I tried. I did have this really fun purple paper from the papery pack that I did put underneath the corners as well, just to get some of that purple in there. These were photos that they taken when she was in her purple dress, and so that was fun to really play up the purple and the butterflies, the florals, and then that background paper. And then there's pops of purple in the floral paper. And then day 24 is from Jessica Michaels and had this really fun circle element and a photo and then circles from on the diagonal. So here I actually pulled, again, some different photos, not from the theater production. Same two girls though. like I said, they're best friends. So, but these are, I was going through my camera roll and came across these pictures, and I knew that this really beautiful blue was in this collection, this beautiful pattern paper here that really matches the feel of her dress. Just that formal kind of vintage feel. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, and she's wearing this beautiful blush pink. I'm like, those colors are perfect for this collection, to pull the softer colors from this collection. Because in the collection they had the cut aparts, but then they had another page of cut aparts that were more pastel-y. So they did have, a lot of pastels in this collection if you wanted to just pull those out, which is what I did here. I did pull out some of the brighter pops of pink, but for the most part I kept with that really beautiful lighter periwinkle bluish color and that blush pink. And anyway, I had taken this off of her Instagram, so it's a grouping of 4 photos, but in a 4x6 format. And again, just played up that blue and pink. And so I I punched some circles, some with regular punches, and then some with scallop circles, and just scattered them up. I did mat my white paper on a floral pattern paper to bring in those colors on the outside. I use this really beautiful blush pink for the big circle, and then embellish some of the circles with some florals and words and phrases and bling. Love and laughter. I punched some butterflies and scattered those throughout. So a lot of great opportunities to use up scraps with these sketches, because you can punch circles and punch butterflies and all those things from your scraps, which is nice. So that was fun. I did splatter mist a couple different tones of pink on there. I felt like it needed a little bit more interest to the background there, but okay, that one's done. So now I'm working ahead a little bit, only because of the photos I was working with. Okay, this is not working ahead. This is day 25 is still current. I think today is the 26th. So, so this is from Jennifer Kane, and very fun structure where it has the photos along with kind of the top, like in a kind of a upside down L, and then title, and then a cluster in the opposite corner, which was I thought that was a really fun design element. And so mine is a little bit busier and crazier, but this was kind of to the point where I was like, I'm almost done. Like I'm kind of ready to wrap up this collection. So I just started plopping stuff down. I still like how it turned out. It's very fun. It's very playful. It's the group photos of the cast, and they're kind of doing their thing and having fun. So I, instead of doing 4 photos, I basically printed off the picture of the program, and then 2 of the group photos. So I just did 3 photos instead of 4. And then where she has the journaling here, I just put a couple of the foam stickers on top here, and I'll journal on those with a couple other stickers. And then the title, I did use one of the big titles, and then the floral cluster down here. But then I added some other floral clusters, like where she has embellishment cluster there. I did kind of expand that a little bit. I wanted to get that fairy in there, or whatever she's called, and backed it with this really fun green vine paper, again feels very woodsy, and then just layered a bunch of fun pattern papers behind that, because there's lots of fun color in their costumes. And then I was bringing in the color in with all these fun florals and embellishments, so it's all spread out, I think, fairly nicely. I wanted to make sure I got some orange here and orange here, because I had the orange there. I always kind of try to keep that stuff in mind. Use up some of the little stickers. There's a little squirrel hiding in there, and then a bunny rabbit and a deer. Tucked in a little, I think, bunny there. And so, yeah. And then this is working ahead a little bit. This is day 28. So then I'll finish 26, 27, 29, and 30 with whatever collection I'm working with next. But I just had one vertical photo and wanted to scrapbook it. And so I was to the point where I was wrapping up with the collection. I'm like, I have a ton of scraps. This is a great way to use up scraps. I'm going to work ahead a little bit and work with this sketch. And so here is what I came up with. Again, great way to use scraps. Use lots of bits and pieces. Not just scraps of pattern paper, but I used some of the washi strips. I, split those in half and spread them throughout. A lot of the stickers. Here I layered. So here I have the title, and I layered some tickets and ephemera pieces underneath, and then I did do the stars. I thought that was very appropriate. It was just our family photo of just us four after the production. And I did go ahead on the sketch. There was no really, the only embellishment was these arrows, here and then here. I felt like I wanted to just tone down all the busyness a little bit. So I just grabbed some of the papery pieces and ephemera pieces and just kind of scattered them throughout, above and below, and some to the side. So I'll date and everything there, and then probably journal a little bit here, vice versa. And then tucked in like just a bunch of fun goodies. So flowers and the rest of the puffy stickers and some more stars, and like these are stickers, and some more bling as well. And then I did do a solid strip of a couple papers on top and bottom, and then I did mat it in a multicolor. It was actually one of the cut apart card papers, but you can't tell it because you're just seeing the outside edges. And so it was multicolor, and I thought that helped to just add to the whole multicolor thing we have going on here with all these fun strips. But what a great way to use up scraps. And yeah. So I'll probably date there, maybe journal there, or I don't know, we'll see. But here's some of the fun posts, and a lot of these are just those thin papers from the papery pack. But these cream and black pieces really kind of help kind of tone down some of the craziness. But I really loved just tucking in these flowers and having them kind of like wildflowers, right? They're just kind of like spurting out from all kinds of places, and that was fun to do. So, because I hadn't used hardly any of these flower stickers until the last couple layouts. I'm like, I need to use these. They're so pretty, but those types of stickers are usually harder for me to use for whatever reason. But I think that they worked great with tucking in them into these little strips or pockets of embellishment. So, okay. All right, you guys. Yay. Okay, so that was a lot of layouts, but not done yet. So I worked with, and some of these I've already shown. I worked with this American Crafts Dreamer collection. Both of these collections I just got, you guys. Like I just got from the, I think, Vault Sale or OfficeSupply.com. But all the lavender and purples in this just made me think of my brother's wedding. And so I think all the pictures I did. And then also, I'd actually pulled pictures a while back. I really wanted to do a layout called In My Bridesmaid Era. So there was a period of time where I was in so many weddings. I was a bridesmaid in multiple weddings. My aunt and uncles, my brothers, multiple friends. So I had printed off like one picture from each of those weddings of me being a bridesmaid. And I wanted to just do one layout, like documenting that as kind of a summary type of situation. Because I've scrapbooked the pictures individually with like their weddings. But I wanted to do one like page just remembering of all the weddings I'd been in. And so I thought this collection was perfect because it had great colors that matched. So that was my inspiration to pull this out in the first place. Then I decided to pull out some of my brother's wedding photos because they had lavender as their color. And so anyway, and then I did this. This was a YouTube video from, I'm gonna forget her name now. No, Andrea Lake. So she had done a YouTube live doing this layout, although mine's a little bit different because I butchered it so many times. There are so many layers to this. There's big layer, there's another layer there, there's a layer that have the 4 square papers, and then there's another layer of a larger paper that has the 4 photos on it that are all, you know, I printed them. No, I had to layer these in white. So there were so many layers. So technically these 4 big pieces are supposed to be like scrunched together and not have any kind of gutters. But I screwed that up because I was doing it like these. Anyway, so, but it's close enough. I'm like, you know what? I ruined one piece of paper. I'm like, I'm not pulling these up anymore. I'm going to do it as is. But I love her style. And I want to go back and like go see what other videos she has and just scrapbook her like crazy because I really do love her style. Anyway, so what I did here was just grab some photos of like my parents together and then my brother with each of my parents. I thought that was a fun mixture of photos to put together. And I did use some camera washi from my stash because I wanted to get some pieces of black in here because of all the black that was in the photos with the tuxes. But just really built, my mom had this kind of purplish, bluish outfit on. And then, you know, there's purples and blacks and grays and just all the pretty colors. So I just thought it was a really beautiful collection again to work with wedding photos, the hearts, the florals, gorgeous. Just look at that, like purple and blue, like heart embellishment. It matches this paper back here. Use some puffy sticker or not foam stickers. Did a little title in the middle with a little frame that had like gold foiling on it. And then here, I didn't have a 4x4 card, but I had a 3x4 card, and then I just layered to the left of that just to fill up that square, and then continue that embellishment down here. So you kind of have your embellishment on a diagonal. And I love how that turned out. So fun, so beautiful, and just a gorgeous, gorgeous collection. Okay. And then, let's see, I think this one, did I show this one? I feel like this one was from a sketch. I may have shown this one. I think this is from a sketch from the first week of Chrissy's Beautiful Life. So I think I showed this already. But again, just treating this as kind of a kit love layout share for this collection because I did make quite a few layouts with it, just with it by itself. So this is one, just pictures of me when I was a bridesmaid. There were different just snapshots that had me in them, and I just compiled those and made this layout with those. Again, I need a journal on it yet. And then I've shown this one too because this was also one I done for the week 1 of Chrissy's Beautiful Life, and it was the concept was having the hearts in the background, and I just used a pattern paper that already had those. But just a fun picture of me and my parents on my brother's wedding day, and all the fun embellishments that really work perfect for the occasion. So again, sorry, I've already shown those, but and then this was a layout that I intended. That was the reason why I pulled out the collection in the first place, was because I had these photos printed and I wanted to get them scrapbooked. So there's lots of different colors going on in the photos, but really it ends up working. The one thing that surprised me was that I realized I didn't have any pictures. My friend Kelly, she had, her colors were like a sage green, which is, this basically matches this green perfectly. But I didn't get any pictures of like, after the wedding, I didn't get any copies of the pictures of us in our dresses. And like no one took pictures of us that gave me like I didn't get any copies of us in our dresses. I think I have a couple pictures of me dancing with the groom. And I think that's the only picture I've ever seen of me in that dress. So I really would like to, I need to just text her and say, hey, could you send me some of your wedding pictures that have me in them? Because I don't have that documented at all. But I did have a picture of us getting our hair, after we got our hair done, and we were all in our, getting button-up clothes so that you can not ruin your hair or whatever. But those were like blues, and there was a lot of blues in this which was fine. So we have lavender, dark green. This is also kind of a sagey green, blues, a darker lavender, and this really beautiful like aqua color. And I just think I tried to manage all the colors in the photos by using this multicolored pattern paper that really had a good mix of all those colors, and then just embellished accordingly with those colors. So I had a great time making this layout. It was brought about some great memories. I do need a journal on here, but I did a cluster up here, used a card, used some freckled fawn, like washi stickers there, but just did some embellishment with some stickers and the vellum hearts and bling. Did a little bit down here. And I think I just used, I think this was they had a piece of paper that was like border strips you could cut apart. I just kept some, like 4 of those together. So I think these are just like 4, so you could cut these apart, but I just kept them together as kind of like a pattern paper. But I love that it says, hello there, what a great day, I love you most, best friends for life, daydreamer, together's best, beautiful girl. That just worked out. That was just a perfect sentiment as far as for the topic. Then in the top, I titled In My Bridesmaid Era, and I just put the word friends in there. Even though technically this one, it's my aunt and uncle, but that's okay. And then one more big cluster here with a journaling card, another little washi sticker, another card, and some more embellishment that, you know, brings those butterflies. The butterflies and the hearts are spread throughout, as well as the other paper embellishments and stickers and things. So that was the intent for getting this collection out in the first place. I was just going to do this layout really quickly, which is why I did not do a kit love video for this collection. But I'm just going to tack this on now that I've shown you all the layouts that I made with that collection. And it was just a fun one to work with. Both of these collections were great. I love them both. I'm so glad I got my hands on both of them because I didn't have them. They came out when I was in my non-purchasing era. Speaking of eras. And I'm glad I was able to get them at really good sales deals. And I feel like I've gotten some really great scrapbooking done with both of those collections. So thank you guys so much for watching. That was a really long video. There's a lot of layouts to show. I've been scrapbooking like a crazy woman. I guess I'm just inspired and like things are working. Sometimes you sit down and you're like, oh, nothing is working, and then you kind of give up. But I feel like I've been able to sit down and like layouts are coming together pretty easily. And a lot of that is because of these great sketches, which is making it really fun and easy starting place. So I always have preached that, like scraplift people, scraplift, find sketches, scraplift, go to Instagram, search whatever collection you're working with and find what other people have done with that collection. And it gets your mojo going, and it kind of gets your creativity going if it's not there. And also just if you're like, if you're stumped and don't know what to do, that can give you some really great starting points. So love, love, love. So much fun. I'm ready to move on to my next Operation Use Your Stash collection of supplies, which is some really old My Mind's Eye. I'm super excited and challenged and can't wait to pull out some of those papers and embellishments that are 15 plus years old and get some scrapbooking done with those. So I'll be back to show you those products and also then beyond that, the layouts I make with them. So thanks for watching so much and happy scrapping. Bye-bye.